Hey, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome to your Weird Week. Episode 2.
Right. And of course, we are TFT Tarot for Today, Divine Dabblings with Oberon.
And me, Banshee.
And of course, this is, as Banshee mentioned, our second installment of the new retooled Your Weird Week, where we try to basically look at some collective, global, possibly political or other issues and see what is going on there, if there's a narrative or thread between them, or if it's all different stuff. So we use several different decks, and we hope to kind of focus on those themes presented by those decks.
The first deck will be the Twin Tarot Oracle deck. It's a majors only deck with an upright and reversed card for each of the majors. All right. I just shuffled, right?
Right. We each shuffle our own decks except for the oppositions, right?
I guess. Oh, yeah, that's right. Because that's a shared deck. Supposedly. All right. Twin Tarot. So the Twin Tarot is basically the major focus theme or tone for this weird week. And they're all right upright. And interestingly enough, it is the pious upright Hierophant.
Yes, it's the upright Hierophant. You know, a total signal for conventionality or tradition, or people trying to do things that come from a certain maybe ethical point of view, a societal point of view.
Right, you know, and it looks like the positive aspects of this card are reflected. Well, I think either way it's kind of a positive card, but basically this is about, you know, standards, you know, and maybe a focus of this week is going to be on people's standards of behavior, whether it's government leaders or whether it's former government leaders.
Well, I could see it applying to a number of things that are current in the news, which is, you know, basically revolving around the ideas of what government should or shouldn't do for people. There's a lot of people who feel like we should throw out what's been done for 50 or more years.
Right.
In favor of new fangled things.
Well, new or really antiquated thinking, actually taking us back further. So it's interesting, but let's see. That may be the focus.
In a way, this card kind of applies to both sides of that edge. You know, of people thinking that over conformity is good or is not good.
Right, and it depends what we're conforming to, like ethics and standards or not. Let's see what second part 2 is. What we will find out, the mysteries, or see what mysteries are afoot. And this is the Secrets Tarot.
Exactly. Alrighty, so Secrets Tarot, here we go. And I've used the Secrets Tarot in some of our other special readings. It just does seem to kind of point out some stuff that maybe is not necessarily known widely or well. So, as we said, we will see what is needed to find out. Mysteries or things that elude our knowledge. Our knowing, I should say. It's the Secrets Tarot world.
Now, if I took that at face value, what will we see or find out? What mysteries? I almost feel like something that's a worldwide issue. You know, I'm just going to read this at face value, and I might look at this a little bit differently in a minute. But if I take this at face value, I wonder if the standards, ethics, morals are involving something of worldwide importance. You know, somebody doing something under the table.
Well, I could also see it applying to the worldwide situations of health of the world, either due to pollutions or catastrophes or climate change or things like that.
You know, because of course, you know, there's been these major earthquakes and various things too, and a lot of people need solutions, some resolution, and ending to their suffering right now.
What possibly causes these things, or what can be done, what is the needed to find out to how we can shore up and maybe have a better response team globally, or, you know, for these things.
The other thing I might call in mind is, any kind of sneaky behavior that's going on. I know right now there's been, it's been kind of quieted down, but there's some new evidence that's been uncovered on who broke that pipeline, that Russian pipeline. And it looks like the U.S. is being blamed by reporters. So I wonder here too if something is going to be revealed that
That's a really
has
good tie-in.
some worldwide significance.
Really, that ties in pretty well with the first card.
I know. Some people who think they're doing things for righteous reasons, and it has worldwide implications. I mean, it could foment a world war. So let's take a look at what other perspectives need to be considered with our shared
deck. Not that one.
I thought that was
the one I put in front of you.
The Tarot of Oppositions, my shared deck that I don't recognize the back of yet.
It's okay. I just tried to put it closer to you.
I appreciate that. Thank you. All right.
And of course, in the use directions of the Tarot of Oppositions, it does suggest that you can read the cards sideways as a liminal idea that that card's meaning is sort of encompassing both ranges of reversed or upright, or something that maybe pulls more towards the center between those two differences. So it's a little bit tricky to read. Sometimes we may go more with one side of the card than the other, but we do try to show the idea that there are other perspectives to consider, especially in the situation we're talking about.
Well, we're going to focus in on a situation, I think, eventually. I want to see where these cards are leading. I like the idea of the pipeline, though. Shuffle and cut.
I like the idea, too, that, some of the things that people think that are necessary to repair the world are not at all what other people might think.
Right. No, I totally agree.
We see that just here in America in terms of the political divide. And, of course,
he's dropping cards. Our shared deck.
Because they're so hard to riffle, though.
They are. They're a little bit heavier stuff.
I don't want to do that on the table because it shakes the table. And
they're simply beautiful cards. I really like this deck. I forced him to share it with me.
I tell you that people seem to bend over.
So again, what perspectives need to be considered? And however you're going to read it, oh my goodness, it's the Eight of Swords. Did I pull it up reversed? Is that the way it was, or?
You pulled it up upright.
Ah. Okay, I just want to know that.
Though it's hard to say because, it's one of those funny cards,
Well, you could put it sideways if you wish. I'm thinking about it here, though. I like the upright because I almost want... Could you put it down so I could see it more? I just want to see the imagery. Well, I like the up... Well, that's really reversed because they're free.
I guess.
So, because upright is this. And so it's interesting to me, if I were reading it all ways, I feel like what we will find out is that some people feel their hands were tied in this situation, that there wasn't much that they could do, or they felt that this was the only options, or maybe they were afraid of, maybe the idea is they were afraid to come clean on this too.
Well, that's a pretty interesting observation there, and I think I like that. But I'm also seeing the idea, too, that because sometimes I look at this card as being an illusion, your feeling of being trapped, perhaps, or your illusion of not being trapped, could suggest maybe that, or that other people felt like they didn't really understand what was the reality or not. That, in other words, what's going on here is that we don't really know enough about the facts to really determine who did what here.
That's a really good point, too. I like that. It's kind of like, too, I think liberation, if we're going to count both sides of this cards, I think we will find out that liberation or, light will only come if we can get all the facts. And that's the problem with something like this. Like, for example, that pipeline, if it is talking about this, without physical, tangible evidence that can prove somebody sabotaged this, it's going to be hard to get to the bottom of it.
And I think just the idea of that ambiguity sort of creates the idea that certain people are imprisoned by or not imprisoned by the truth or the non-truth, incapable of necessarily acting because they don't know what their actions could bring when they don't know really what has happened.
I can think of a few other things that this could relate to. We'll toss some ideas out there. I know we were looking to do something more specific, but
right.
I think we may not be able to.
We thought we saw that maybe it
time.
ties into what you're seeing there. But
it
could certainly apply to some other things too.
I think this issue, this drama, is still unfolding with the pipeline. It's just one reporter came out with evidence and presented it, and there is a lot of denying going on, and Russia's very upset, rightfully so, if it was damaged intentionally like that. So we're just going to have to see how that plays out. And definitely more information is needed. So let's grab our last deck, it's not our last deck, our fourth one. What is the overall impact? And that's my Healing Lights Tarot. Oh, and I can't shuffle either.
I think that if we want it to be really general or broad, this really pertains to the scope of how world powers are more or less sparring for what they want, whether we're talking about Ukraine or whether we're talking about China's aspirations to rise in power, all these things, and they can represent illusions that either hold them to something or maybe release them to do something. But either way, the results could be unintended.
All right, I'm going to cut them. Oopsie.
Is that what I think it is?
I believe it's a Two of Cups, but I'm looking for a cup on this card. So it looks like the Lovers, but it's a 2. It's a Two of Cups.
I'm sure it is. I don't know why it doesn't look like any cups there.
I know.
Maybe those are cups.
You know what? They are. They're very shadowy and silhouetted. This deck is a really dark deck. Sorry it took so long. But it's a beautiful deck. But the Two of Cups is here. Wow.
And it almost doesn't seem to fit what has fallen before.
I know. But what the overall impact may be is that, people are going to have to come together. People are going to have to resolve this, peacefully, diplomatically, in harmony with one another, and really not get bent out of shape. So the overall impact seems to be some diplomacy is going to be at work here.
People find a way to find trust and harmony, or at least set out to do that. And, it's kind of ironic because, of course, the very much older statesman-like in his own way songwriter Burt Bacharach died recently.
That's right.
And, of course, he said, what the world needs now is love, sweet love. And maybe the circumstances of all these tensions rising, all these illusions or non-illusions that are screwing with people's intents or abilities to do better resolve in somebody saying cooler heads need to prevail. Maybe somebody important can really pull us back from the abyss by showing us that we have more in common as a human race than we do.
Can I be a little cynical even with the Two of Cups?
Who, me or you?
Me.
Go right ahead.
Well, I just want to say here that to me a little bit, if this is, for example, about the pipeline, maybe some other things that are fomenting under the surface, this sounds like damage control to me. You know, this sounds like somebody trying to find a way to smooth this over and to make sure that tensions ease.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know. But let's move on to the last card, which is going to come from you again, and that is going to be what could win the weird week? Possible strategies and outcomes.
And for that, we use the Global Fusion Tarot. That's just the back of it. It's a unique new deck. It came out last year, and it's by somebody who maybe epitomizes the search for better harmonious solutions. I'm not recalling his name offhand, but he's a wonderful person. You can look up the Global Fusion Intuitive Tarot and see this. He's a Haitian or Jamaican immigrant to our shores, very artistic fellow. Alrighty, so let's see what the Global Fusion Intuitive Tarot says could maybe make this a better outcome, could find the better outcome. And it's the Queen of Pentacles.
Money.
Money makes everything better. Well, money
but the Queen of
changes everything.
Pentacles is more than money.
Of course.
So what could win the weird week? Again, is where people treat each other more kindly, more benevolently, more with respect. You know, I could really see this applying to a lot of different scenarios right now. But what do you have to add to the Queen?
The Queen of Pentacles to me sort of is a minor avatar of both the Empress and the world.
Right.
And the world is present in our reading. So I think the idea is that maybe, despite the idea that it could be subterfuge of some sort, rationalization, if cooler heads can prevail, we may find an emphasis on healing the portions that need to be healed, or looking to respecting the world's boundaries, the world's situations, because we're never going to probably in our lifetime be one, you know, kumbaya world, but we can try to respect boundaries and have regions of cooperation.
So if there's so let's take a look at this again, because I do want to add a couple of ideas here. I want to just say that maybe one of the things I'm seeing happening on a maybe more global level is there's really clashes, possibly between traditional ways of doing things, and maybe others here, when we find out or see, is being revealed here as others who want to step beyond that now. You know, they want to be finished with some of these.
Move to a new cycle.
Move to a new cycle. They want to be finished with some of these traditions and things that maybe have, are old and we need to move forward from. And here, other people may feel their hands are a little bit tied, and in order to truly achieve liberation, there has to be something, there has to be a coming together of ideas and an ability for everybody to feel counted, to feel important, to feel that they have the right to speak their mind.
For some, this card may mean that there are illusions to be pierced. There are ways for people to kind of come around to another form of thinking. And of course, I could see this too. So many people are believing big lies, small lies, medium lies. We have to find a way to pierce these illusions and to figure out the liminal space between illusions and non-illusions, where we can really encompass both ranges of human experience and understand what people fear, but what people hope for.
There could be more of a coming together, there could be more of a, that maybe, some compromises could be achieved, or some fusion of ideas could come out of this.
Trust.
Yeah.
Working for trust and harmony.
And ultimately, it's really, if everybody acts out of kindness and benevolence, we can move forward. Now, I want to add a couple of other things.
Me too, and I'm going to be real brief. This could even signify maybe a charismatic female person, or a person who, it doesn't matter maybe, but they sort of have that sense of Mother Nature about them, that maybe some politician, some spokesperson somewhere can be that person, perhaps.
Yeah, I know. Even on a U.S. level, I could see this relating to Congress right now, though. But I can't see this happy kumbaya the way things are going right now. But I do feel what might be happening here is there is a clash of ideas going on here that maybe both parties will solidify more, in their factions, unfortunately. But, ultimately in that, maybe some more compromises might be achieved.
Let's tie it up.
So I hate to be rushed about this because I really wanted to throw some more ideas out there.
Then we'll pause so I can plug it in. Go back. I don't know how much more time you need. I thought we had pretty much wrapped it up.
Well, you talked so much about individual cards when I felt that I needed to go over the whole again. So I'm sorry, and maybe I shouldn't have done that. But I just think the pipeline thing is so unknown to people right now that it may be like, what are they talking about?
That could be. We could maybe put in a little commentary about the pipeline somewhere.
Without getting political.
That's true. All right. So we have a little bit more to say.
Just a little bit more. I wanted to add, okay, it could be about Congress if you look at some of these clashes going on here. It could be also about Ukraine in general. Zelensky was taking his time last week to go around and talking to world leaders to try to get them to stay the course so they can complete their job. And there I see this here where some people may feel, they're running out of ideas. Like, for example, in the U.S., Congress is kind of rebelling against all the money and stuff we're giving to Ukraine. And so, there's got to be a coming together. The impact may be that there's a coming together. But
once again, even in that scenario, the idea that Congress feels their hands are tied or they can't do that is possibly illusionary because, of course, depending on who it is, they might say otherwise.
So really, I just wanted to throw some food for thought out there because this pipeline thing is just so freaking new. I was shocked to hear about it. And
it actually occurred a while back, right?
Well, the bombing itself occurred a while back, but this whole idea that the U.S. was involved and did it, that somebody has it on good authority that we supposedly sabotaged this pipeline, that's relatively new news. And I want to remind everybody this is just a tarot reading and our opinions, so please, it's for entertainment purposes only. So I just want to say it could be that, but I think more needs to come out and be revealed about that. I need to find out more about that myself, so I'm not ready to draw any conclusions, but this could involve that, definitely. And I have a feeling in the next week, we may hear more about that.
So then the week will get weirder.
And stay tuned because I heard that something was blasted out of the sky today. So in Alaska, and I don't even know what that was yet. I have to go look up the news on that one. So maybe something will come out about that next week as well. Till next week, may you keep your weirdness in check. And, have a good week ahead.
All right, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.